Hello, hello. It's so good to be here. It's so nice to be back with all of you. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I hope you are having a great week and that you are seeing your body transform. And if not, I am so glad you're here. I am Marna Thal. I've been helping women for the last 24 years lose between 20 and 100 pounds by learning to think differently, eat differently, change your thinking and relationship with food. And I am so happy to be with all of you today because I want to talk about how your weight can be your greatest teacher of all time. And oftentimes we don't look at weight as a very good teacher. We look at it as like, oh, why am I doing this? Or why do I have this struggle in my life? Why am I having to deal with this? This is so annoying. But if you can open your mind today and really come along for this journey, I want to help you see that weight gain and your weight is the best teacher you can possibly have, because there's so much information underneath the surface of your weight that's just ready to be seen and enlightened and that you can learn from. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. So if we kind of go back and we look at how are habits formed with food, how are they created? And we know that habits get formed unconsciously or consciously, and they with repetition and repetition. So if you tend to overeat, it's through repetition. If you tend to eat late at night, it's through repetition. If you tend to tell yourself today's going to be a great day, and then by 5 o'clock it's a terrible day, or you find yourself overeating, that's through repetition, right? So it all happens through repetition of pairing a thought with an action. And then here we go. And it gets repeated over and over and over in our brain. And then all of a sudden, we have these habits. Now, how are habits? What starts a habit? A habit gets started when you have a thought that creates a feeling. So it could be, oh, I'm anxious. Maybe food will help numb me out. And we have this temporary pleasure of being numbed out and not feeling. And we go, oh, that was pretty cool not to feel for a few minutes. And so we repeat that and repeat that and repeat that. So remember, it always starts with a thought. Always, always, always. So when we start to look at our relationship with food, when you start to uncover what's going on inside of your relationship with food, what you can begin to see are a whole slew of thoughts, many that support you and some that don't. So if you have these thoughts that are not supporting you to be thinner, lighter, healthier, more vibrant, then we've got a great opportunity to begin learning, because all your body wants to do, all your brain wants to do, I shouldn't say your body, all your brain wants to do is keep you safe and comfortable. And so when we start to really look at how it's doing that, that's our best and greatest teacher, okay? So let's look at how we can start learning from the weight that we have on our body. There are lots of ways that we tell ourselves and think through and have thoughts in combination with our food. So one, it can teach you about your relationships that you have with yourself and with other people. Two, it can teach you all about your emotions and your emotional health and your emotional well-being. Your weight can teach you all about coping strategies. What are your coping strategies? Do you have coping strategies? Or are they eating strategies for coping, right? They can teach you about how you deal with conflict, how you can confront people in your life, how you avoid people in your life, how you socialize or don't want to socialize, how you're using your thoughts about yourself and your weight and food to show up in your career or go small in your career. It can teach you how you want to show up as a parent or as a partner. There's so much that can be learned because everything, everything with your relationship with food starts with a thought. And if we can start capturing the thoughts that are happening throughout your day in relationship with food, then you get to start capturing the learning, what's really going on under the surface. So, if let's say we take this whole piece of like looking at how it can teach you about your relationships, there's a few things I want you to know. It can teach you, like, are you a social eater? Do you use food to keep your hands busy when you're out and about? Some of you have shared that with me. And then I go out for a social event, I have a holiday, I have something going on, and I use food to just, or a drink or something, to keep my hands and my mouth busy so that I don't have to feel uncomfortable about engaging in conversations. That's telling. That tells you information about what it is that you don't feel comfortable with and where you do feel comfortable. And so if I occupy my mouth, or if I feel like my mouth is busy, then I don't have to feel weird or uncomfortable when I'm standing there and I don't know anybody. So see how we can start learning what food and what its role has played in your life by starting to break apart just the thoughts, just the patterns that start to show up in your life as they relate to food, as they relate to your relationship with food. We can see, do you eat to connect with others? Is that something? Are you always engaging in social activities around food? Or is it something you want to expand out? And it can be the greatest lesson if you go, okay, all my social time is around meals. As a thinner, lighter, healthier version of myself, how can I start to expand those social relationships in new ways? By going on walks, by taking up a sport and maybe engaging in that sport with other people. And in maybe you have a hobby that you absolutely love, and that could be something that you take action on, or you host in your home because you love something like knitting or crocheting or art or painting or something like that. And you can start to see, how is it showing up in your connection with others? Or is it showing up as a way that you numb out? That when you're with others, you feel so uncomfortable that you numb out. And I know for myself, I'm really good in like small groups if I know people. When I'm at a gala or something like that, gala, when I'm out and about with other people and I'm at a big event, then one of the things that I notice about myself, my husband has no problem networking. I kind of recoil in. I don't feel very comfortable in that environment. And that's where you'll find me kind of recoiling in because I'm used to always knowing people in Denver, right? I'm just used to that. And so if I don't know people, there's this discomfort inside of me that can happen. I'm not as good with this small little talk. I'm much better with deeper, more meaningful conversations. My husband is the opposite. And so he can just go in there. He'll be like, let's get there early so we can network. And that to me is more painful. So where I would say, hey, let's go somewhere where we could go into this intimate environment and I can get to know everybody around me and really build some relationships up. So when you start to see how food could show up when I'm feeling uncomfortable in a networking event, there is a natural desire, hey, let me go keep my hands busy and my mouth busy because I'm not feeling as comfortable about myself and the situation. And it's just information. It is my teacher. So I want you to think about, where are these opportunities for your weight and your body and your relationship with food to teach you? It is teaching you every meal, every second of the day. There's an opportunity to learn. Now, I don't want to bog you down so you feel overwhelmed. So the first thing I like to do is always have you look at, where are there patterns with your food that you're aware of that you like? And where are there patterns with food that you don't especially like? And if you can just take 2 or 3 of those and work on one at a time, 1 or 2, you can work on 2 at a time. I don't want to overwhelm you. So it's always just extract 1 or 2 and then start looking at it. Start seeing, okay, what are the sentences? When I say start looking at it, what I mean is this. What are the sentences that you're telling yourself, that you say in your head, that you say either out loud or in your mind, that you notice is happening very deeply? It could be very unconscious, that doesn't even seem like it's a thought, but just seems like it's an action of grabbing food. But there's always a thought. And with a thought, you can change it. That's the awesome part, is when we change these thoughts, when we learn, when we go, okay, this is the thought I'm having. Let me practice a new thought. Let me practice a new way of thinking about this. And then you just see, did that help you get in front of that overeating pattern? Did that help you confront that eating in a new way? Did that help you feel more confident at a social event? Did that help you feel more alive and more connected and more fulfilled so that you didn't need to go toward food? You test it out. That's what I mean by the learning. You have an opportunity to learn what the sentences are. So first, you always go with awareness. Awareness is key. But if we just stay with awareness, we don't actually get to see the results starting to show up for your body. And some of us get so good at the awareness piece, so good at analyzing, that to take the next step of starting to say, wait, what's a different sentence? What's a different phrase? What's a different way that I can practice thinking in a new way that then will lead to a different feeling? And then that will lead to a different result. So let's take an example. I'm going into a social situation with my husband, a networking situation. And I know that typically I'm not the most comfortable in those environments. I have an opportunity to think about it differently before I even show up. So I'll see myself, okay, how do I want to think about this? If I start noticing my body getting uncomfortable and me wanting to go to a table to go eat something to numb me out or for me to keep my mouth busy, I have an opportunity to think something different. Like, oh my goodness, I'm sure there's one person that I could meet and that I would love to get to know. And in that focusing on one person, it brings this, for me, it brings all the noise and the busyness, I should say, and the bigness of a party into a small, comfortable place for me. And with that one sentence, all of a sudden, my focus is finding the person versus taking action and grabbing the food in an uncomfortable way. Do you see that difference? Do you see what that learning is about? It's about saying, hey, Marna, you're not very comfortable in these networking event environments, or you haven't been. How can I make it more comfortable for myself so that I want to, and I can support my husband and I can be there and feel more comfortable in that environment? Because ultimately, I'd really like to be in that environment feeling really comfortable. Some of you have holidays coming up, with 4th of July coming up, and we have these holidays coming up. You may be environments similarly where you go, I'm not so comfortable. So then the question is, how can you get more comfortable? How can you make it more comfortable? What sentences can you try out and see what happens? There's no sense of beating yourself up if you are overeating. There's no sense of beating yourself up if you are binging. There's no sense of beating yourself up for any of your frustrating behaviors with food, when you can just learn and get curious, not critical, and learn what is going on and how can you think differently about that same scenario so that it becomes something that you enjoy doing. Another Another option or opportunity could be just noticing it in very simple settings, like at home, at night, at dinner. For many of you, that is a time where many of you find yourself overeating. Okay, with overeating at dinner, there is a thought that you have practiced over and over and over again that creates an overeating pattern. So when you start to shift that, when you start to really hunker in and look at, okay, what's going on in my thinking that can be adjusted? What can I learn from this? What opportunity is there to learn in my relationship with my evening meals? And just if you open yourself up to see what are the sentences I'm saying, what is going on? Okay, this is what's happening. I'm telling myself, this is so relaxing. I'm tired. I've had a busy day. I deserve it. How many of you are doing that? How many of you are saying things of that way, like it was a hard day, I just want to relax, or the energy of which that shows up in the evening speaks to that? So yes, you can have a hard day. Why does overeating mean, or why is it that you're tying overeating to having a hard day, a busy day? We don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You have the opportunity then to go, okay, I had a hard day. I'm going to really relax after dinner by taking a bath, meditating, reading a really great book, going to bed a little bit earlier, zoning out in front of the TV or your phone, whatever it might be. These are the sentences. If I can share that, like, all that weight gain are a series of sentences that have been practiced, that you've created a habit in overeating, over consuming food, or having foods that don't work so well for your body. And all weight loss then becomes is changing those sentences, practicing, learning what works better for your brain so that you want to stop earlier. You want to stop eating then when you go, oh, that was delicious. I feel so light and good. I want to stop when I feel so light and lean and good in my body. That becomes the new way you get to show up. And in showing up that way, and you like that, and you recondition it to go, that was awesome. Yay, me. And then you start seeing those results on the scale, and you're like, holy cow, this is working. Then you reinforce it over and over, and there's your new conditioning. The sentences that you are all telling yourself matter. And if you're speaking to yourself by beating yourself up, being mean, being critical, being a bully, it is not going to get you long-term weight loss results. It might do it in the short term, but long-term, if you're still beating yourself up once you get to your ideal weight, do you think that's helpful? Heck no. So if you can look at, hey, listen, when I prepare food, I'm grabbing a lot of food as well. And so I'm having a meal before the meal is what I like to call it. It's like when you're cooking and you're trying everything and you sort of have a meal before sitting down and having a meal. What you could do is then say, okay, what are my thoughts about this? I need to try it. What if I don't need to try it? What if I could just see how it tastes when I sit down? And in the meantime, I'm going to drink a whole ton of water. And then you try it out and you see. But we've got to get you from going unconscious with your meal experiences and with food to thawing you out to get conscious. Now, I'm not expecting any of you to go conscious constantly all day long. That's too much work. But to take one or two habits, one or two patterns with your food and start really looking at what is going on in those sentences. What are the words I'm using? What am I telling myself that is not working, that is getting in the way, that if I really, really achieve something different, say something different, I will absolutely lose weight. If you stop overeating at night, will you lose weight? Heck yes. If you stop eating, if you stop eating at night, after dinner, would you lose weight? Yes. If you eat a little bit less, will you lose weight? Yes. These will all be ways you lose weight. So we have to look at what you're telling yourself and what you've unconsciously programmed into your consciousness that is running the show with food. Because that is the learning. That is the education. That's where you get to go, oh, this was such important information for me to see about how I'm showing up in my world and where I can make changes. And it's so much bigger than just the food. I hope you're seeing that. That it's about how you're showing up with family, how you're showing up with conflict, how you're showing up in the world that can give you opportunities to make transformations with conflict, with having difficult conversations, with sharing your truth to somebody else, with your comfort level about yourself, with your confidence, with pushing through a work assignment and not turning to food because you feel like, oh, I need my buddy there to help me get through this difficult assignment. Instead of going, you know what, I can get through. What would it look like for me to throw some gum in my mouth and get through this assignment in a different way? So, is this helping? Do you get this? Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? I hope so. I hope this helps you really see that your weight gain, the weight that you have on your body right now, that you would like to be off of your body or lessen on your body, less pronounced, is there to teach you. And the more you learn and the more you start to really be this amazing, vibrant, incredible you without the need to protect and nurture with food, the more you will then show up in your life in a new way. That you'll show up in a way where you're so self confident and real, and you'll have new tools and new thoughts to help support you. So, all I want any of you to do is just one, become aware of what it is that you're telling yourself around an area with food that's really frustrating you right now. What are the sentences? And then two, look at, are those sentences supporting you, or are they making your weight loss journey harder? Are they supporting you to lose weight, or are they making it harder? If they're making it harder, what possible sentences could you use, could you try out that may shift that experience? Like I was saying about, oh, let me find one person that I could connect with at a social event. That makes it so much easier for me than thinking like, oh, I have all these people and I'm an introvert and holy cow, I don't know how to handle this. If I zoom into, I bet there's one person that I could get to know and connect with, it feels much more comfortable to me. And it changed the entire landscape of networking, all because of one sentence, because my focus shifted into from fear and worry to opportunity and can-do energy. And then once you have those sentences that you'd like to try out or shift or change, we're just going to practice trying something else. Try a new sentence, try an opportunity. And I like to think of it like this. In my ideal self, ideal weight, ideal body, how do I want to show up? What would I like to tell myself instead? It's easy to stop. I can do this. Absolutely, I can make this happen. Let's take one more bite and taste it. And oh, it tastes so good. And then I'll put my fork food down and put it away. What is it? And you practice. And let that practice not be something that you beat yourself up with if it doesn't work, but that you learn through. And you go, wow, that didn't work so well. What else could I do to help myself make this even better or make this stronger or adjust this? And then you can keep that journey going. Okay. Then when you've solved late night eating, overeating, binge eating, emotional eating, a trigger here, a trigger there, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this weight thing isn't a thing anymore. I don't have to worry about my weight because I no longer turn to food to comfort, love, nurture myself anymore. And I have the tools with these sentences and learning to really adjust and make tweaks. All right, everybody? Does that help? You have a strategy for the week? All right, I am sending you so much love. Now listen, the 30-day challenge is coming up, and this is a lot of what we practice. A lot of this work is mental work, and it's about practicing it over and over and over and over. It is not about punishing. I do not have you do the 30-day challenge so that you can just check off the days. Like, here we go, another day, another day, another day. I did it. No, it's about going deep into your life and really pulling it apart and seeing, what am I doing in relationship with my body, with hunger, with satiation, with my emotional eating, with my trigger eating, with my cravings? And how can I lovingly start to make the adjustments so that I can live the rest of my life as somebody who's my ideal self that doesn't have to diet? Okay, so if you haven't gotten on the wait list, I would love to have you on that wait list. If you haven't taken the free course, take the free course. And I really am here to help support you. If you have any further questions, Kate or myself are here to support you, here to help you. And I can't wait to take you on this journey over the next 30 days that starts on July 12th. All right, everybody, use your weight as your teacher, not your enemy. And you'll be in really great shape this week. All right, talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.